in a story entitled DNA Doesn't Lie, People Lie.
Right.
You found out through modern DNA testing, first of all, that the person who you thought was your father actually sold several infant children that your mother delivered to adoptive families.
No, I didn't find it out through DNA. I was actually there when he was selling them off. I was the oldest child, so I
knew at the time. But you kind of knew, or you didn't?
I knew, yeah.
You knew, okay.
I knew he was selling them off, and as they came out, he was basically selling them off.
You knew your mom had a baby every year for 10, 11 years or whatever.
And they were always at home.
Right.
Pretty much every single one of them was home births. And I was there I'm a young child, and I'm hearing my mother screaming either on the main floor or a second floor, depending upon where we were. That was something you had to remember. They were coming out every year, so when I was 2 or 3 or 4, I didn't really know. I knew they just disappeared. And
this was just normal for you.
I had no recollection of any of them until I was probably about 4 or 5.
Now, your mother... This weighed heavily on her, I gather.
I didn't know why it weighed heavily on her. All I knew is that
being a child,
Yeah, I had no idea. All I know that I remember when I was about 4 or 5, and my younger sister Barbara, was about, I guess, 4. We were about 1.5 years apart. We heard our mother wailing like crazy downstairs. We thought she was going crazy, and I grabbed her, and we decided to hide in the closet until all the noise died down. And she had been, every now and again, she would go into this grief thing or whatever that was. It was quite sad. But I had no idea. I never even connected the two together with, she had just had a birth or whatever. All I know is that every now and again, we had this issue with my mother having this strong emotional reaction to something that would cause us to be very concerned.
When my parents died, it spurred me to do a lot of family tree research. I had the advantage of having the internet at my disposal even 20 years ago. So lots of ordering of birth and marriage and death certificates from the old country, Scotland. Yeah. But your family tree found you. In a sense, that's how I kind of see it anyway.
Very true.
Did you send a DNA sample to Ancestry.com then?
Yeah, I went to Ancestry first. My motivation was to find out a little bit about my father. I didn't think there was any way I could find out anything about my siblings because they disappeared. From my point of view, they were gone. I had no idea.
Right.
Even with DNA, I didn't think any of them would be looking for me or for the family. And this was about 4 or 5 years ago. I was just about to turn 70, and I thought, okay, let me see if I can find his family, because I wanted to find out who he was. I wanted to talk to his family, his current family that grew up with him. I wanted to find somebody who knew him. And of course, my adoptees, my half-sibs, they didn't know anything about him. So I wanted to find out about him. My motivation was, what is this guy all about? So that's when I put my Ancestry DNA in there. And then Sharon popped up. And she comes along and says...
she's a half-sibling.
She's a half-sibling. I didn't know it at the time.
Yes, but there's this sort of a partial match.
Yeah.
Right? That's how it comes up.
Yeah, she comes along and says, I think we may be close relatives or family. I'm not sure. So she
contacts you.
Yeah, she contacts
me. It turns out she was doing a lot of her own
She was
research.
Checking out for her twin sister.
So independently,
yes,
these other half-siblings at different times
yes.
are also signing up with Ancestry.com or 23andMe.
Yeah.
And then in various ways, you start getting connected with these lost siblings. Yeah. Somewhere along the line, you find out that Mike isn't your biological father. And someone told you that, again, in the article, very dramatic. It said it was
Risa told me he wasn't my father.
So she figured out. Everyone's kind of doing their own sleuthing on their own time. Yeah. As the article says, she had a very difficult conversation with you, and you didn't. That was a shock for you.
It was a shock. It wasn't difficult because I actually liked the fact that he was my father. Right. I didn't like him very much.
Are you glad you know all of this?
I'm glad it all came out. I love my family. I didn't realize that even after 60 years of not knowing them, that I could get to know them very well. And and feel them in my life as well as I do. It's been now 4 or 5 years since we've started getting to know each other.
And you've connected. It hasn't been easy, I'm sure, with the pandemic, but you've had reunions and things.
We have. We've connected. Some of us connect better than others. Some of us are a little bit more reserved.
It's a lot of people.
A lot of people, yeah. And some people that only thought that they may have just one sibling or no siblings. They just want to find out about their mother and father, and all of a sudden they have this huge family to put in place. That's kind of a daunting task. So, but I've enjoyed the experience. I think it's worked out very, very effectively for me, for my own mental growth, for my emotional growth, and I really enjoy reaching out to my siblings and letting them know me a little bit better, and letting them know their story. They needed to know their story.